I know.
Yeah, it's tough. You always stay like one step ahead of the internet.
I know. Just one step.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
There we
Oh, yeah,
go.
one more light I'm going to turn on.
Okay.
Like right in your face.
Guys, there's Fraser. Take that.
There we go. Okay.
Good times. Okay, so your Q&As are my favorite, though, I have to admit.
Better than the scripted ones? Because that would save me a lot of time.
Well, we'll see. What do you guys think? Because I love the Q&As. The Q&As are so good. They're so great.
Because they're easy. I mean, they're half an hour of my time, and then, it's all Chad's problem.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, I need a new mic stand. Pamela told me that this one is getting pretty cranky.
Yeah, it's a little...
It's a little
you should
crunchy.
get
It's a little squeaky. Yeah, I think it's time to upgrade the experience and
I think
and
Rode
go with one.
Yeah, Rode has a really good one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sort of slowly swapping out gear for better pieces of gear. And hopefully at this point now, like our camera, like I'm really happy with the camera that we're using. I'm happy with the lighting system that we've got. The audio is good on the videos. I like the mic that I'm using here for the podcast and stuff. But yeah, okay. New mic stand.
Yeah, it's just or WD-40. Yes.
Yeah, a little more WD-40 on it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They are good. Yeah. Wait, so first question, where is Florida of Canada?
That's where I live. Yes. I live on the Florida of Canada.
What does that mean? I don't know it. I don't know this meme. Is this a meme?
Well, so not in like, Florida man, but it's that I live weather-wise in the sort of nicest, warmest part of Canada.
Okay. Well, so Joe, see if you can see Joe in chat. He took a different form of that.
Yeah, Florida man. Yeah, I know. That very wacky things happen in Florida, and that's not what British Columbia is known for. That is not the British Columbia is known for other things in Canada, and it is not that we wrestle alligators.
Right. Yeah. So these were amazing. So have you heard? I'm just going to open with this because someone actually brought this up yesterday. Apparently, there's a proposal out for some budget cuts. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I have.
And WFIRST.
With NASA.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how do you feel about that?
I don't care. So for anyone who has don't worry, don't panic. Let me just sort of carefully guide you through this dark and terrifying time for you, and you will become the hardened space journalist like I am, who has seen this happen before.
Yes.
Yeah. So the White House puts out its budget proposal every year. And the White House budget proposal is not the law. It is just this like a rough guideline, a wish list. It's like a letter that a child would write to Santa Claus and say, "This is what I want, Santa." And then Congress and the Senate is Santa Claus in this analogy, and then they actually decide what actually gets funded. And so every year since Trump has arrived in the office, he and his team have attempted to shut WFIRST down, have tried to shut Sophia down. Mm-hmm. And each year, Congress just puts it back in. So on that side, I wouldn't be that terrified about all of these things that are apparently going to get cut. It literally we could just go back last year and have this exact same conversation.
We could, and right? That's true. Yes. And that's the one thing that makes me sad about it is I'm sick of seeing WFIRST just offered up, you know? It's the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah. And what everyone is complaining, I mean, you watch the video and my QA, right? And everyone's complaining about the over budgetness and lateness of James Webb. WFIRST is on time, on budget. Mm-hmm. It's going like clockwork. And it is essentially the Hubble Space Telescope. It's the next Hubble Space Telescope. Mm-hmm. So why would they want to cut that? It's madness, right? That there
Right.
is nothing in the pipeline after the James Webb Space Telescope, and yet this is the instrument that really needs to be used after James Webb. This was designed all along to be a sort of a distant follow-up to James Webb. And now, it may arrive like 3 years after James Webb or 4 years after James Webb. But yeah, to shut down WFIRST is a terrible idea,
Right.
considering how well this project has gone so far.
Yeah.
And I think it's madness. But then on the other side, there are some things in this budget that make a ton of sense.
Go on.
Well, so for example, right now, the European Clipper mission was expected to use the Space Launch System, which is a very expensive rocket. And it was going to be in one of the more expensive Block 1B configurations, which was going to be a much heavier lift. Now, it would take the Europa Clipper and just like pick it up and just throw it at Europa handily. So if they shift something, say a Falcon Heavy, they're going to need to go on a more complicated, a more elaborate orbit with a few flybys, a few return visits to Earth and maybe off to Venus before it finally makes it all the way back out to Jupiter. But it can do it. And a Falcon Heavy costs you $90 million, while a Space Launch System is going to cost you $1.5 billion. Mm-hmm. So there's huge savings. And so to remove the legal requirement, and this is what it was, right? It was the law that the Europa Clipper had to use the SLS. If NASA engineers didn't design Europa Clipper to use the SLS, they would be fired and go to jail.
Right.
Because it is the law of the United States, the law of the land. So to be able to remove that restriction and say, hey, shop around, see what you got out there, I think it's a great idea.
Right.
So, and then I think the other thing that is important is that under the Trump administration, there's been a real emphasis on a very specific directive to go back to the moon with a very specific timeline. NASA responds like, fine, you want us to go to the moon by 2024? Pay up, right? Like,
right.
It's going to cost us.
Yeah.
And to their credit, the White House administration has helped to garner the largest funds for NASA pretty much in modern history. Like, not since the Apollo program have we not seen adequate funding for as many science projects, as many telescopes, as many all kinds of things, and especially for human spaceflight. And so I think they now are predicting the White House is saying we would like to set aside $35 billion over the course of the next few years to help make this Artemis mission happen and have United States return to the moon. And that's a very serious request that the government has to, take into consideration if they want this to actually happen. And they're going to have to they are going to have to make that commitment and provide the cash to move forward. And if they don't, then it's another empty promise. But then at least it's very clear where the White House said we want to go to the moon as soon as possible. 2024, right? And obviously, like Trump would love to have to be the one who,
of course,
who had the moon landings happen during his second term. But it's a specific date which we haven't seen in a long time. NASA said sure, but it's going to be expensive, and we're going to need to get a lot of hardware fast tracked, and we're going to need to confirm a bunch of developments. And to their credit, the administration turned around, wrote that into the budget, wrote that in their letter to Santa Claus, and sent it off to Congress. And so far, Congress has been not only agreeing on the additional things that they want, but has also been writing back in all of the stuff that they've tried to cancel. So it is when it comes to sort of the time of space exploration budgets, it's the best that it has been in modern memory.
I'll take it. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me started on this administration.
Right.
But when it comes to commitment to space exploration, they are serious, and I think that they're wanting to shut down a lot of science and climate science and STEM and education and longer term missions like WFIRST and other missions down the pipeline and focus quite obsessively on getting humans back on the moon by 2024, right? Like the writing's on the wall. We get it, right?
Yep.
We understand what's going on here. But still, so far, it has turned out quite well for space exploration.
Space Force. Everybody's commenting on Space Force.
Yeah, so they have requested an additional $15 billion. I forget the exact number for Space Force. So no, 5? Anyway, the budget for Space Force may actually approach NASA's budget at this point.
Huh.
And of course, so you're taking the existing budgets that was before part of the Air Force, part of the National Reconnaissance Office. There was various Department of Defense budgets, and then try to pull all that budget together and then increase it to sort of the new version of the Space Force. So
yeah.
And I've mentioned in the past, right? Like Space Force again isn't a terrible idea, right? Should be called Starfleet.
Right.
But it makes sense to consolidate all of the different operations that you already have to one organization that considers the application of space as a future domain where there could be conflict. And also just the ways that you use it for the conflicts that may happen down here on Earth.
Yeah, well, Lottie says a very original logo too, not Starfleet at all. I know.
So to be fair, those of you who watch Letterkenny know what I'm talking about. That the Space Force logo looks like the Federation logo, but in fact, if you take the old NASA logo and the old Air Force logo and you merge them together, like Mr. Sparkle from The Simpsons, you get the new Space Force logo. It has the elements of those two put together.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Federation design was that. So the original Federation design for Starfleet, for Star Trek, was they did the same thing, which is they took the logo for NASA and they merged it with the logo from the Air Force, and they came up with their design. And so, in fact, the Air Force and NASA got it first. So it's a funny thing that, again, I mean, like, I'm happy to make fun of various things all day, but to be fair,
yeah, everybody's
quoting
that.
Yes.
Yeah, Trump wants us to go to space, but doesn't care about global warming and denies it.
Yeah, no, like I said, don't get me started on this administration.
Right, there's a lot of things.
but so I'm just trying to stay on target here.
Yeah. I'm watching Next Generation right now. Jokes are more important than facts, though. Which candidate would appear the best for science at large?
I don't know.
Me neither.
I think the best one just dropped out so far was Andrew Yang.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, so he seemed like he was the math guy. He was the one who seemed to have most of sort of deepest understanding of science and technology.
Yeah, technology.
But hopefully he'll still be kicking around and help out with whoever does end up. So at this point, I don't know if any of the remaining people have any real emphasis on science.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like I've met with like certain people here when doing groups like Women Who Code and stuff like that, and they promise all kinds of things and they don't do it. So like I've had firsthand experience like with meeting senators and such, and it was pretty sad. But that's just politics, guys.
Yeah. Again, I'm Canadian. I don't understand your mysterious American politics. So, it's just all just gibberish to me.
Yeah, it's gibberish to me as well, though.
Do you not have Tories? Do you not give praise to the Queen every day like we do?
No, that died out a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, my wife has been, she's been having to get used to the fact that we pledge allegiance to the Queen every day. But now that she's an American living here in Canada.
Yeah, they say the Tea Party.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I think he's talking
Yeah.
about the. I mean, would that qualify? Maybe, I don't know. So let's see. So what are some of the potential policy challenges that NASA or Space Force can face with this huge influx of funds? I assume there's always some gotcha moment.
Well,
Like policy changes.
I don't understand
challenges.
the question.
So what are
Yeah,
some of the potential policy challenges that NASA or Space Force can face with this influx of funds?
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily. I mean, the influx of funds is to fulfill landing on the moon by 2024. So, what is the challenge? I guess the challenge is not being able to land on the. I'm sorry, am I being obtuse? I don't understand. Yeah.
So
maybe they can clarify sort of what they're looking for.
Yeah, possibly. So and correct me if I'm wrong, which you definitely will. It's because you know way more about this stuff than I do. So the Lunar Gateways hasn't even started being built yet, right?
Sure, it has.
It
Yeah,
has?
no, it has. Yeah. There's 2 modules that are under construction right now.
Okay.
And then there's sort of one, it's like a habitation module, and the other one is a power and propulsion module.
Oh, okay.
And
so
those
I have
contracts
heard
are
about
already
that.
moving forward. Lockheed Martin, I think, is working on one.
Right.
I forget exactly who's doing them. So right now there's 2 modules are under construction, and they will be the first 2 modules that go up.
And when did
probably
that
in
start?
2022. When did that start?
Mm-hmm.
Plans have been in the works for probably 5 or 6 years now,
Right.
and the contracts were awarded last year sometime, maybe the year before, and so I think they're expected to launch 2023.
What do you feel about that timeline?
If the money flows.
Right. I mean, that's actually
yeah.
a very good answer.
Yeah. And it doesn't like at the end of the day, I don't really care, right? Like, if it takes 20, if it goes to 20, I think NASA's original plan was to complete all this stuff by 2028.
Right.
So, so what if it takes an extra couple of years for it all to come together? I mean, that's what
I kind of expect it
at the end of the day, the money is the salaries of the people who are involved. And if you can't afford enough people, then you just have to take longer working with your team to build the thing.
Yeah, and I think ambition's always good to set out a date. I mean, Elon Musk does the same thing, right? He's very ambitious. And his dates, everybody's kind of always second guessing and being like, oh, I don't know about that. But in the end, he does deliver usually.
Like, do you remember back in September, we saw that party in the unveiling of Starship?
Yep.
And he said that the next hop, the 20-kilometer hop, will probably happen in the next couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, say we got October, we got November, maybe December. That's a couple of months. I'm giving one extra month. It's turning into a few. January, February. They've applied for a launch window that opens up in March and allows them to fly for 6 months. So now that's more like 6 months. And I'll bet you they probably won't fly till the end of that period. So it'll be more like a year.
Right.
So what was a couple of months will have turned into a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
A test of the top stage of a fully reusable stainless steel Starship using a previously untested full fuel methane engine is a full flow methane engine is going to be a feat of engineering the likes of which the world has never seen. Take your time, Musk. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. It's fine.
So there's also with just more going towards like astronomy news, not necessarily the tech news, because no one's asking questions.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It's so weird.
We're just gonna talk.
I know. So
tell me about dogs.
Yes, we've got a dog. She is passed out right now, right next to me. And it's sad because like she doesn't know my cadence yet. So if I get up to go get water, get tea, like right now I have ginger ale and I have tea. And so
And she thinks you're off to the races.
yeah, she does. She's like, you're getting up, you're leaving me. And she just wants to sleep because they sleep a lot. But so with the whole FRB, so the fast radio burst, that whole new thing with was it 16 days where it's got a 12-day silence and then 4 days of activity? Am I correct on that? I might have that in reverse.
Oh, sorry. My dog wants to see your dog.
Oh,
My dog doesn't know that. Is your dog kicking around?
she's right here. She's down.
All right, let me see if I can get my dog.
But she's sleeping. She's out. We're gonna show dogs. We're gonna show dogs.
Can do this.
Oh, you're gonna have to move over a little bit more. She's gonna have to be there. Is it a she? I'm assuming here. Yeah. Oh.
You see it?
Yes. Here's the mic. Dog ASMR.
Yeah, there we go. Oh,
Wow.
there we go. She's deaf, but her ears move forward when she sees.
I remember that. She's so beautiful. Look how beautiful she is. There's space dogs, guys.
Sleepy dog.
I know.
This is not.
This one's not.
Man. You are.
How
chaos,
much does
aren't
she
you?
weigh?
That's awesome.
How much does your dog weigh?
What does it want to weigh? 40 pounds.
That is a very compact dog.
She's a small
Yeah.
bull terrier. Yeah.
Right. Very compact.
Not a mini, but a small one. Yeah. A svelte. Yeah. Yeah, they're big. They can be pretty muscular dogs.
Yes. Chunky boy. It's a girl. Both of us have.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, poor thing. He's so outnumbered. It's all girls.
Yeah. It's fun. I mean, for example, here's some interesting things that have happened. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. We could talk about the launch of the Solar Orbiter spacecraft.
Someone brought that up the other day or yesterday, and I was like, "You mean the Parker Solar Probe?" That's welcome to me, by the way, being sick with all kinds of stuff and not keeping up with this. I feel terrible. So talk about this. So it's ESA's complementary mission to the solar or the Parker Solar Probe.
Yeah.
It's ESA.
It's possible there's a new video on my channel that you can play anytime you want.
Oh,
Just
okay.
saying. Yeah. But yeah, so it's the most recent video on our channel is all about the Solar Orbiter, and this is European Space Agency's complementary mission, as you say, to the Parker Solar Probe. And so, unlike Parker Solar Probe, it has a camera, so it's going to be able to take pictures of the sun, and it's going to be trying to go higher and higher, sort of on its inclination, so it'll be able to actually see the top of the sun.
I don't see that. What video are you talking about? Because I have it up right now. Which one? Because if I would have seen that.
Maybe it's not on my. If you go to my videos, it should be you should see the sun there. Just click the videos. My channel.
Oh, right here. A new perspective. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's hidden. Okay. Anyways, go on. Yeah, so the poles, it's not going to get as close as the Parker Solar Probe, right?
No, so Parker Solar Probe is going to get like 9.5 million kilometers away, while Solar Orbiter is going to be like 30 million-ish kilometers. It's going to be within the orbit of Mercury.
Right.
And so it's going to be a lot closer, but it's going to be able to take pictures of the poles. Now, ESA had this spacecraft back in the 1990s called Ulysses that actually flew above the sun, way out of the orbit of Jupiter, but it had no camera, and so it purely could measure the amount of the magnetic field activity, the strength of the solar wind, but not actually just see. So so this is going to be the first time that we get a chance to see this, which is pretty exciting. Yeah,
and I had no idea that ESA was, again, this is where I felt really, really bad, because they said the Solar Orbiter, how long is it going to take? It looks like it's doing kind of the same thing that the Parker Solar Probe is doing, right, with these flybys of Venus, because you can't just send something, and I was trying to tell people, it's really tricky to go to the sun.
Yeah, it's the hardest place to get in the entire solar system.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Do we know when they're going to start sending back any kind of information from the solar orbiter?
From the solar orbiter? No. I mean, they're looking at a flyby of Venus in 2021, and then a flyby of Earth in 2022, and then another flyby of Venus in 2023, and then they're going to start to incline that orbit. So it's on a resonance with Venus. So every time it flies around the sun, it makes another flyby of Venus and does another gravitational assist and gets kicked up into a higher orbit, and then another one.
Yeah. Someone asked, why is it so hard to get to the sun?
Yeah. So I mean, when you think about here, you are on the Earth, right? We are flying around the sun at 30 kilometers per second. So you are already you're in perfect balance between falling into the sun from the sun's gravity and flying out into deep space because of your orbital velocity. And so just by all of the factors that came together to bring us here onto planet Earth, you are perfectly balanced. So in order for you to get down to the sun, you have to cancel out that 30 kilometers per second of orbital velocity. And just to give you an example, like if you want to go into low Earth orbit, you only need about 11, I think, kilometers per second of velocity. If you want to leave the solar system from the Earth, you need about 16 kilometers per second of additional velocity to escape the solar system. So the fact that you're already going 30 kilometers per second, that's the challenge. And so if you try to just like fall into the sun, well, you're already falling into the sun, but you're missing, right?
Right.
This is already happening. Same thing with, like, once you're in orbit around the Earth, like imagine you want to fall into the Earth. Well, the only way to do that is to cancel out that orbital velocity. And we do that through aerodynamic re-entry. You burn up. But so to get 30 kilometers per second of delta V to change, to be able to drop into the sun, is really tough. And if you don't believe it, play Kerbal Space Program, and I defy you to make a rocket that can hit the sun.
Okay, so Fraser, we're just going to need you to play KSP for everybody.
Right.
Can you just like fill that void, please? Because, it's just not happening.
Yeah, talk to Scott Manley. Maybe, yeah. Talk to there's a bunch of great
there's EJSA. He's here on Twitch. There's also Das Valdez, but Das Valdez does a lot of stuff on site, but he also does KSP.
Yeah. There you go. So do a collaboration with Das Valdez and EJ and say, like, how, prove to me that it's really tough to fall into the sun. And
I think it'd be great to do that with Scott Manley, but I wonder if half of my chat would be very, very scared and probably like, wow, it's Scott Manley. I don't know if I should ask questions. Scott's awesome.
Yeah,
Scott
great.
is super awesome.
Yeah, you should totally hang out with Scott.
Yeah. A sandbox multi-stream, fun unlocks, just see which can do it fastest. So let's see. There was also another question when Renaj asked if you and Fraser had unlimited access to deployed and functional James Webb Space Telescope, what would be the first thing you'd both do with it? I'll let you answer first.
Sure, I would. I mean, I want to know if there's life. So I would be hogging telescope time, scanning the atmospheres of the most interesting candidate worlds that have been found so far, trying to track what's in their atmosphere.
Yeah, and see, mine is going to complement that and saying that I would love to see as far back as it can, right? Because it's going to be able to see further back in time than Hubble. And that's what I'm excited for. Yeah, I mean, exoplanets are great in studying their, analyzing their atmospheres is going to be super, super cool. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to give it, I mean, it's nice that that wasn't scripted, guys. We covered James Webb Space Telescope and its whole, what it's going to bring to us. So
we can talk about the software glitch that almost caused Starliner to be destroyed.
You might have to go in depth about or go through what that means in full.
Have you not? So you know that there are 2 spacecraft that are going to be able to carry astronauts to and from the International Space Station, new American spacecraft, right? There's the Crew Dragon, and there is the Boeing Starliner. And the Crew Dragon has gone through all its various tests. It just recently did that in-flight abort test, and everything worked great. And now it looks like Crew Dragon is going to fly as early as May, carrying astronauts to the space station. The other solution that NASA has, and this is kind of clever, right, is that they've had 2 competing teams developing hardware, knowing that the competition would make them stronger. And so you've got the other version, which is the Boeing Starliner, and Boeing's had its own set of problems. And so they did a flight test several months ago. I think it was November, and they had a problem with the thrusters, and it wasn't able to reach its intended orbit. And so it had to re-enter the atmosphere, and they were able to bring it back down, and everything was fine, but it didn't actually do the one thing that it was supposed to do, which was to go to the space station. So it turns out there was a second problem that happened as well, which was that there was a software glitch as they were nearing the countdown that they had to quickly patch in a fix. And if they hadn't done that, it's possible that the spacecraft would have been destroyed. So NASA is not pleased. And so at this point now, we're looking at potentially many months of delays while NASA makes Boeing go through their code line by line to make sure that this problem cannot happen. And I mean, if someone at Boeing knew there was a problem with the software, the appropriate response is to say, scrub the launch, there's a problem with our software.
Right.
That the appropriate response is not to patch it at the last minute and hope it works out okay.
No fingers crossed, please.
The fingers crossed, right? Like I don't know if you, I've been on those kinds of software deployments, and it's a nightmare. And sometimes it works, and you pull it off at the last minute, but the stakes are super low, right? But in the case of demonstrating the capability of their spacecraft for carrying human beings to orbit, the bar is really high. So so that was a problem.
Someone said they did a simulation, quote unquote, of the main code and found the issue right away. They didn't simulate it earlier.
So here you are, right?
Here you are.
Here we go, right? I mean, like anyone who has been involved in a software project, in a technical project, has experienced this exact thing, where you're trying to make a thing go, and someone realizes that a thing doesn't work right, and so you quickly at the last minute patch in a fix to make it go again. But again, the stakes are super low. But in this case, the stakes are really high. So we've got this rare fast radio burst.
That's what the FRB, the Furby.
Yeah, and so they found one that is repeating on a 16-day schedule.
Right. And it's, I think it's like, cool. It's got this weird, and I asked, I don't know, maybe someone in chat can correct me. It's like, it's got a dormant period of like 12 days out of the 16, and then it's like active for 4.
Yeah, I don't know the exact details, but I mean, just to have a fast radio burst that provides this kind of repeatable schedule is super handy.
So you're not saying it's aliens. You're not saying it's aliens.
Yeah, well, I mean, and as you saw in my QA, right? Like there is, unfortunately, there aren't a lot of people out there who are able to dedicate their careers to properly communicating space news, right? There's really just a couple of us now, like I know them all by name, and all of the big companies have fired all of their space reporters, and so it's only independents who are left to be able to provide this kind of news and analysis, and so you get some big newspaper or whatever trying to milk the clickbaitiness of this, and so they go straight to aliens. It's, alien signals on a repeatable schedule and blah blah blah, right? There's this other one about this galaxy that went dark. I've had people go like, is this real? Did this galaxy go dark? I'm like, yeah. 1.5 billion years after the Big Bang, 12.5 billion years ago, or 13, almost 13 billion years ago, a galaxy went through its gas surprisingly quickly, and then has since gone relatively dark compared to what the simulations would expect for a galaxy with that mass. Ooh.
Yeah. And that's what I'm looking at right now. Someone asked how far away it is. How far away
I don't
FRB
know. Let me
is.
see. Let me just check.
Because I'm checking too, and I don't know why I can't find it.
Find what they say.
I'm on space.com.
Space.com, that place.
Yeah.
So it's coming from on Universe Today.
Oh.
They have a 500 million light years away.
Okay, there we go. And yeah, it does have a 12-day period of silence, and then it skips its usual 4-day awake periods sometimes, and lets out only a single burst sometimes.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I mean, there's so much unknown about this. Like, our observations seem pretty decent, but as far as explaining what's happening here, right? Mm-hmm. That's
we still don't know what causes fast radio bursts.
Yeah.
Right. They are these weird burps in the radio spectrum. That's the part that's weird, is that they're a burp in the radio spectrum that is happening in random places around the universe. These things are far, 500 million light years away, right? That's really far away, billions of light years away. Mm-hmm. And yet they're very bright, but they're also just in the radio waves without some kind of bright flash that goes along with them. Right. So what could cause that?
Could there have been more than one Big Bang? That's a question that came in.
That's a great question. Mm-hmm. So maybe we don't know what caused the Big Bang in the first place. And so if you run the clock of the universe back to the beginning, we know that everything is less dense today. And so you can imagine, if we and another galaxy are, in every direction, galaxies are speeding away from us. And so if we run the clock backwards, then all of the galaxies are coming together closer and closer together until eventually run the clock far enough back and you get that everything is sort of smushed into one very dense location. Mm-hmm. And it's not that it was an explosion, right, of one little dot that went kaboom.
Right.
But that it was, the universe could be infinite today, and it could have been infinite in the beginning. It's just that it was infinite, but more dense, and now it's infinite, but less dense. And sort of the analogy that I always explain, right, is imagine this 3-dimensional grid that goes in all directions,
right,
up, down, left, right. And so the size of that grid gets bigger. But still, it goes on forever. And so back at the beginning of the universe, that grid was really close together.
Yep. And
so we don't know. There's a sort of a certain point where our understanding of what existed in the universe just breaks down. And it breaks down like literally all the way back to when the first quarks formed, like a fraction of a second, is how far math and observations can push our understanding back to the beginning of the universe. But there was some condition that existed that caused the universe. And it seems pretty weird that it just flashed out of nowhere. And yet here everything is, right?
Right.
And so we don't know what were the initial conditions. So it could very well be that there is some far future for our current universe that somehow then either in some localized region of the universe, a new universe can form and you get a new Big Bang, Or it might be that there is just, the end state of our existing universe is that it then creates another Big Bang and moves on. There's one really interesting idea that I like, that seems like the most plausible to me, but it doesn't really answer the question. So have you heard this idea that essentially every particle, say all the particles of air in the room with you right now, they are, it's a probabilistic function of where those air particles are.
Right.
So they happen to be here in the room with you. They're most likely to be here in the room. If you sort of graph out the probability function, they are most likely there in the room with you. But that bell curve that defines where those particles are could be anywhere across the entire universe. Right? The entire observable universe, that particle, the particle field spreads across the entire universe. And so all of the particles could just instantly decide together to get up and move to Andromeda. There's a slight chance that those particles, all the air in your room is in Andromeda. Now, the chances are incredibly remote. Like, it's super rare for this to be a possibility. But the math is not, the chance is not zero. It's just almost zero. And so when you think about the entire universe, the universe is essentially still what it was back when it formed. It's just that it's been rearranged into different shapes. Matter's been converted into energy. Energy's been converted into matter. But it's all still just all there, spreading apart, doing whatever, right? And so you can imagine this situation where if you wait long enough, and I mean like long enough, all of the matter of the entire observable universe decides that it's a brand new universe. And then you get a new Big Bang, right? And again, the chances are not zero. The chances are just almost zero. But yet in an infinite amount of time, if you wait long enough, and like a long time, then if this is true, you will inevitably end up with the universe reconfiguring itself from whatever its current situation is, an expanding, cooling, heat death universe into a new universe, because it's just a random possible configuration that could come up. That said, it still doesn't explain where the universe came from in the first place.
Right.
Like,
that question.
Even if you get a cycle, what started the cycle?
That's still not touched.
And so we just don't know the answer, and we may never know the answer. And that's cool, and that's fine.
Yeah, and Tag just said I'm a big Rip man. So and I appreciate that comment for so much, but there's so many ways it's hilarious. But there's in terms of the universe dying, quote unquote, is there a particular model that you gravitate toward? Okay, so I'm using all the puns and I'm not even meaning to.
Yeah, I know you just can't help it. It's hard. There's so many great space puns, right?
I know.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the one that, like, again, I'm not a physicist, I'm not an astrophysicist, I am purely a science journalist. So my job is to constantly communicate whatever is the latest thinking. And in general, most people think that the end of the universe is the heat death, that over time all of the stars will die. They'll use up all of their fuel, all of the excess material will be gobbled up by black holes, neutron stars, and the expansion of the universe will continue, so that galaxies are so far apart that they have no knowledge of each other, and then eventually, over even longer periods of time, all of the black holes themselves will evaporate, and then all that will be left is just energy across the entire universe, and it'll all be cold and it'll all be dead, and that's the heat death. And that's the one that I think, if you had most astronomers give you their best guess, that's the future of the universe.
Yeah, and Dr. Katie Mack's coming out with a book this year.
Yeah, you should definitely get an interview with her in fact, I'm sure she'll talk about it anytime you ask.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she's probably going to be super busy around that time.
Get her sooner than later. But,
Yeah.
I love when even celebrities have written books, because that's the moment they're on a bit of a publicity bender, and so you can usually kind of snag them for an interview.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so Jim Al-Khalili,
Mm-hmm.
so he is people in the UK
I
he's
know who
very,
he is.
yeah, I'm sure you've showed some of his documentaries,
Yeah.
right? So he just got a new book, The World According to Physics. So he's promoting his book, and so he's gonna come on we're gonna do a special open space. So we're gonna have a whole hour of just me and Jim just yakking about the world according to physics
Oh
and
my
answering questions
gosh.
from fans. So
That's actually really,
that's
really cool.
yeah, that'll be on March 12th after I
March
come
12th.
back from my Japan trip.
Oh, you're going to Japan? You're going to
Yeah,
fly with all of the
yeah, with the
coronavirus stuff?
coronavirus, yeah,
I'm sure no one
yeah.
has ever said that because you were totally not prepared for me to say that next.
No, that's all anybody's talking, coronavirus. Yeah, yeah. Don't worry, we're not going to go on that cruise ship.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why people are doing cruises right now. I even saw someone else get on a cruise via Twitter. They're tweeting that they're
Yeah.
like, stay off ships, guys. They're just
Yeah.
large petri dishes. Can we just
Yeah,
not?
they always are.
Yeah. Why do people do cruises anyway? Well, you could do cruises when you look at astronomy stuff.
Yeah, it's
Fraser,
true,
you've
yeah.
you've done, haven't you done
Yeah,
one?
we did a cruise.
Yeah.
And I've done a couple, yeah, yeah. And I know Paul has a new one planned. So I hope next time he'll be on the show, he will shamelessly self-promote his upcoming cruise.
Yeah, he's got another. I knew about that, and he's also got a new book too coming out, which
Yeah.
I didn't know about that
Writing
at
a
all.
second book, that's madness.
I know, so
Write
fast.
one
too.
book, that there's an outlier. Actually, we've got our second book is coming out as well.
Universe Today does.
Yeah, our companion book to the Ultimate Guide to Viewing the Cosmos. So the new one is more like I forget what we're calling it, but it's like a practical observing guide. What to see tonight. So think about the star party, right? And we go,
Yeah.
what are we going to see tonight? Yeah,
The
so
hamburger.
this book will tell you what to see tonight.
No, I think it was the cheeseburger. I don't think it was just a hamburger. Maybe we can find that
Hamburger
one.
Nebula? Hamburger?
Yeah, I think it was the
Yeah.
cheeseburger, wasn't it?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Pro tip: don't forget the name of your book.
Yeah.
It's good advice.
Well, and I have them up behind me. You guys can't really see them. I have both of his. I have Universe Today, and that's a great one again for like astrophotography. If you want to get into that, just learning more about the night sky, what's above your head, how things just work in general. And it's also one of those books, and I think I've said this to you before, Fraser, and you didn't take offense, but it is like a good coffee table book. I've had people come over and just pick it up.
Yep.
When
Yeah,
I
well, the
put it on
goal
coffee
was
table.
to try to just showcase as much incredible photography as possible. So,
Yeah.
So like when we worked on that book, Dave wrote the words, and all I did was spent 3 months coordinating photographs.
Yeah, and it's
And
amazing.
Yeah, and
So
so we were
good.
able to get like 100 different astrophotographers into the book, and show pictures that nobody's ever seen, which
Right.
was great because I happen to know an amazing community of astrophotographers through the work that we do on Instagram, and so I was able to just go like, remember that time you did a takeover on our account? Did you want to share? Can we buy the rights to one of your pictures? And it went really well. And so I think we couldn't have done it without all those incredible photographers. And it was
Right.
great. We negotiated like a huge budget from the publisher to just pay photographers for their pictures, which felt great.
Right. Yeah, I think if I move out of the way more, you'll see it. It's actually right next. Well, no one's gonna be able to see it. It's right
Yeah.
there by the.
It exists.
It's right there. And I also have another copy that was actually going to be sent to a friend, but
Wow. How'd you get a second copy?
I think
I'm all out. I need to order another box of them because I just keep handing them out.
because I don't think it was a giveaway. I don't know how I landed a second copy, but I also got a second copy of Paul's too.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
That's great. Still,
I know.
That's awesome.
If the universe is a donut, where are the sprinkles then? The hypertoroidal shape. I know,
Yeah.
a donut.
Yeah. Isn't that the galaxies?
I mean,
Isn't that obvious?
yeah, the galaxies would be the sprinkles. At least that's what I would think.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants I mean, I that's what I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the galaxies. We've decided.
Let's see if there's.
Guy's a book hoarder. Are people now reaching out and offering to send you books?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I was gonna bug
Do you want
Dr.
me to
Katie
pass
Mack.
along? Like, do you want me to see if I can? I'll pass along your info to Jim's publicist.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we've watched a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
great.
You have a huge following. You're
Yeah.
the preeminent science voice, space science voice on Twitter. Oh, it's on Twitch. So.
Yeah, and I also want to do that with Dr. Katie Mack, and I mean,
Yeah.
her book I've been waiting for a while though, because I'm so excited about that particular subject.
Yeah, she's great.
And
you actually talked to her, like
it was like
a
2
year ago?
years,
2 years
2
ago?
years ago.
yeah, last time you had me be your producer.
Yeah, where you were basically lining up everybody, like Phil
Yeah.
Plait, Dan Dixon.
Yeah, when can we do that again? That was super fun.
That was so much fun. So the front page of Twitch has changed. So it's no longer just like a dedicated slot. It's now a carousel. So it has a bunch of pretty much the
Right.
same people.
Yeah.
A bunch of Fortnite players. So it's like the same people. They are going to have, I think, with like certain months of things, like, I don't know if they're going to have like a science month or a technology month. I don't know. I imagine they'll have something like that. It'd be smart of Amazon to do.
Yeah.
I feel like with, science communication streams or even educational streams in general, I feel like it's a really smart move for Amazon, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
But in the end, like, I'm sure you are now becoming sort of a veteran to this process where they're like, we love science outreach and we really want to help get people excited about science and technology, and we're going to do all this stuff, and then it's back to Fortnite.
Right. And I think they definitely, like, if they hear the word science, Twitch usually, I'm fortunate enough that they're like, oh, Skylias. So that's a very nice thing, but damn, did I work hard.
yeah, totally.
So it's very nice, but having that back to back, I don't think because I think we got up with that front page stuff, we had like 17,000 people at one time.
That's amazing.
And it was crazy. And I forget whose interview that was, but yeah, we had Dr. Ethan Siegel on. And I want to get him back on. I have to like really prep people for Dr. Ethan Siegel.
Why?
Because he's so mind blowing that like you're just be prepared to sit here. And the thing about my face is when he goes on something and talking about all the quantum mechanics, you know, I just sit here and blink because my brain is just exploding.
Yeah, you're stunned. Yeah, I'm exactly the same way, which is Ethan is so knowledgeable about this stuff. It's just an absolute pleasure to just watch him work and just explain this stuff.
And he loves it. He loves it.
No, it's great. Yeah. And of course he has the actual underlying astrophysics degree.
Yeah. Right.
He put in the time to get the astrophysics degree first, as opposed to, us idiots who went through computer science instead.
I know. Exactly. And so, that's one of those things. Like I always sit here and I always feel like my face, like, cause I will listen to keep up with it. In my face, I know its expression just looks like I'm not even paying attention or that I'm bored, but it's that I'm trying to keep up. And so,
yeah, exactly.
And so,
it's an absolute joy. So Ethan's great. You should have him back. Yeah. Have these people back.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I think,
I know, but it's tough, right? Like you need a producer to help coordinate the projects that you work on.
yeah, yeah. And I know we've
We all
talked
do.
about this, but I mean, a producer. I also feel like I don't know if there's enough people in my chat that, if I were to choose a producer that have enough connections or established
Hmm.
relationships to
Yeah.
kind of do that filtering,
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
that's where that
I mean,
becomes difficult.
it's a funny thing. I mean, what we do with the weekly space hangout is that we call all of the, like, there's this community, this fan community that works with the show, and we call them all executive producers. And so anybody who wants can print off their own business cards, become the executive producer of the weekly space hangout, and then invite any guests they want onto the show. And even then, like I can just call Neil deGrasse Tyson and ask him to be on the show. Like, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
and yet people are scared.
Oh, I'm not
Um,
scared about that necessarily. I just want to make sure that we would have like a pretty good audience because I don't think many people would.
well, I mean, sometimes you bring on the guests, and then you get have you ever noticed there's like sometimes like amazing like podcasts, you get just some incredible guest on, you can't believe how they did it.
Right.
Chances are they just asked,
Yeah.
and someone said, and just someone was in a situation where they needed to promote something, and so they said, sure, yeah, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
And you just have to ask. And um, I think it's a. I wish more people felt comfortable or brave enough to reach out and make those kinds of connections.
Oh yeah, no,
So
I'm definitely I feel fine with it. My problem is time.
yeah, no,
Time is not
mine too.
my friend.
Yeah, no, I no longer have any fear or concerns about asking anybody. It's
Right.
just I'm already, as you see, with the volume of content that we are, vomiting onto the internet. Um, this my engine is running white hot at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, Sky has 3 children now. Wait for it. I know. I do. Um but I mean that kind of stuff, is not so much the hurdle is again, it's just like consistency with being able to get people on here and that week that we did that, I was pretty because that was a hell of a week.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
insane. I remember going
yeah,
back to back interviews, just back to back to back. Even at the very end, I think is when we had Dan Dixon on from Universe
yep,
Sandbox, and
yep,
he just came in last minute, and I was sitting here actively in an interview, and Fraser's like, "I've got someone else lined up right after this." So
yep,
it was go time, and it was,
yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It was fun.
I was kind of holding back too, so
Yeah, no, Fraser knows
we
a
could
lot
have
of
gone
people.
more. We could have had more people,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
we just need to get Twitch to. And I always wonder, again, like NASA seems to pop up with Twitch, and especially in TwitchCon.
yeah,
So that's always been really, really cool. NASA's been really fun to work with.
yeah,
Very, very fun to work with. But as far as like the front page goes, the whole algorithm's kind of changed. And so
yeah.
more of it is like,
It's more personalized, right? I mean, they're all moving towards this world where I mean, eventually there will be such a thing as a homepage. There will just be personalized for you, which is
right.
what YouTube does, which is what all of them do.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
it's weird because I don't think that, there are still people that kind of complain that there's non-gaming content on here, and which I
and they're
understand.
forced to watch it.
They are forced to stay.
Oh
They
my
can't
God,
go
that's
anywhere.
awful.
They
They
can't
can't
go
go
anywhere
anywhere.
else.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
so as long as there's something that's not gaming,
Right.
they have to watch
They
it.
have to see it. Yeah, it's like a
Do they even
Clockwork
let them go to the
Orange.
bathroom
No, it's a
or eat
Clockwork Orange.
food?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's Clockwork Orange. They're
Yeah.
forced
Yeah.
to watch
They're stuck.
not Fortnite.
It can't.
That's
I know.
that should be like a crime against humanity. Is it like, has it been brought up at The Hague?
I mean, it probably will. Just wait this year, maybe next year.
Yeah,
But
maybe next year.
they have gaming channels on this. Yeah.
I gotta run pretty quick. But we should make rough plans to have a star party.
Yeah, because we've already dealt with that big moon.
Yeah.
It's starting to
Stupid
get
moon,
smaller.
Snow moon. Just because you give it a cute name doesn't make the moon any better. It's awful. It needs to be destroyed.
Yes. Moon, go away.
Yeah, moon going. I don't want to hear about your hunter moon or your harvest moon.
Strawberry moon.
Strawberry moon. Come on. It's just a eyesore that just needs to be
Exactly.
destroyed.
Yeah, when do we get the new moon? When is that?
Well, I don't know, 14 days from this weekend. So, full on new moon. But we just need because we
Less
start
moon.
early on in the evening. So we really just need, I would say,
Like in another week, huh?
yeah.
Because I also have the
we
Starliner.
could go this weekend. I mean, well, no. So this weekend is like in 2 days.
Yeah,
most
this
of the time,
weekend's like stupid for me. I've got a bunch of stuff this weekend.
So the moon rises. Let me see. So moonrise is 1 a.m. now.
Oh,
On
really?
the 15th. Sorry, on the 15th.
Oh, okay.
So Saturday it's 1 a.m. So we're fine now. We're good now. Anytime between now and
Maybe next weekend. Next weekend I'm pretty available. This weekend is kind of nutso.
yeah, okay. So next weekend, so that'll be a week from the 14th, so like the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
So the moon rises at 6 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that
sets
would
again
work.
at 3:46. So that's perfect.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
see that.
absolutely. Because I definitely have next weekend completely open. But yeah, this next week is
Okay.
going to be stupid. This coming weekend. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Let's aim for that.
Yeah, and guys, Fraser, this is Fraser. You guys, I have a command in here. Please follow all the stuff that he puts out. He also has the newsletter that is wonderful that Universe Today puts out. You can go on there and you can subscribe for that. And it has a bunch of awesome news that.
And I'm working on the next edition right now, the one that goes up tomorrow. We just crossed the 30,000 subscribers mark. So,
Oh, wow.
so if you want to join the newsletter and join 30,000 other people on getting my space news, no ads. It's just me running down all the space news, and it will take you a long time to read. Probably take you longer to read than it took me to write.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for coming
Going through all
on.
the links. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and we will catch you
problem.
soon.
Right on.
All right.
I've got a cool episode coming on Friday. If you
Friday for on which?
Yeah.
On what?
On my YouTube channel. So it's called the weight calculation. Mm-hmm. And it's all about, do you buy a phone today or do you wait till next year? You buy a new PC today or do you wait another year and then buy the new PC?
Right.
So do you fly to Alpha Centauri today or do you wait 100 years for better technology so that you can fly faster? Wouldn't it suck if you sent your generation ship and then the warp drive ship overtakes them?
That would suck.
Yeah. So, so how do you calculate that? And that's tomorrow's episode.
I wait for the Black Friday deal. Perfect.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. So wait for the Black Friday deal of interstellar flight.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll be watching that tomorrow then.
All right. Sounds good.
Take care.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
We'll see you all whenever we do this again.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.